Hello everyone, this is MarcAura and welcome back to another modding tutorial. Today we are going to be taking a short break from Fabric and setting up our Forge workspace. You'll find that the procedure here is very similar to Fabric, but there are some key differences in the API, literature, and other factors that we will be discussing throughout the series. My personal stance is that both Fabric and Forge are great. Forge tends to be more versatile, while having a bit more of a learning curve than Fabric. Fabric is easy to use and very lightweight. However, Forge is far superior when it comes to large mod packs, as Forge is the dominating force in the majority of mod developers of yore. Introduction aside, let's get right into it. Start by downloading the most recent version of Forge MDK Minecraft Development Kit from the Forge website. The link will be in the description. I am using the version 36.1.4. Once you have it downloaded, you'll need to extract these files. I usually use 7-zip, it's very convenient. The link for this will also be in the description. You can extract the files into a folder of your choice. I am going to, inside of my mod directories folder, make a new folder called Tutorial Mod, version 1.0, for Minecraft 1.16.5. Going to go ahead and copy these files. Once inside, you can delete the license and README files. We won't be needing those. You are going to need the same setup for IntelliJ IDEA that I discussed in a previous video. If you don't already have an IDE, just go to my video about setting up IntelliJ and Java Development Kit. I highly recommend IntelliJ, it's great for modding, it's what engineers use, and if you get the Pro version, it's even better. I went over all of this in my IntelliJ video. The link will be in the description and on screen. Welcome back. How was the other video? Thanks, I worked pretty hard on it. That was my first ever tutorial video. Now what you're going to want to do for Forge is to open IDEA and then click Open. Go ahead and navigate your way to your recently installed instance of Forge MDK. Inside of this folder, you're going to click on the build.gradle file and click OK. Click on Open Project and Trust Project. Now Gradle is going to set up your workspace. You may see a little warning over here. All this means is that you have access to the mappings of Mojang's Minecraft code. You aren't allowed to redistribute this. All that means is, if you create an exact copy of Minecraft and sell it to people, you are committing a felony. We are modding, so this will not apply to us. We are modifying the game and releasing our modified code, so there's no need to worry. Be very patient, it will take quite a while to set up, and it should remain undisturbed. It took mine around 5 minutes. You can check up on its progress down in the right bottom corner. Now, once all of your files are imported, firstly, we are going to start our client for the first time. Navigate to the Gradle tab on the right-hand side, go down to Tasks, FG Runs, and then click on Run Client. You can double-click this, and that will start your Minecraft client. You can also opt to click on the Gen IntelliJ Runs. This will generate a series of runs that you can choose from in order to start up your client and server. I usually click on Run Client. They have very similar functionality. Our client starts up just fine, and the default Forge example mod has been loaded. Next time you want to start up the client, go ahead and use this green play button up here. Now we've installed our MDK and set up our workspace. It's time to start modding. To make this mod our own, we're going to start in the mods.toml file. You can find this in the main, resources, meta, inf, mods.toml. Optionally, you can install the TOML language support plugin for JetBrains. This is not necessary, but if you'd like to, go ahead and go to Settings, up in File, click on Plugins, and then install the TOML plugin. This can be helpful, but is not necessary. This file is pretty self-explanatory. Each line listed with the comment mandatory is going to be a required field. The ones with optional are optional. Here we are going to change the mod ID. The mod ID down here is currently example mod. We're going to want to change this to our own mod ID. The mod ID is your mod identifier. Change it to something you don't mind typing a million times. For my purposes, I'll name it Tutorial Mod. This mod ID will be important throughout the modding process. The version here will be dependent on the naming convention of your mod file. We will discuss this in a future video. The display name is how your mod name will appear in-game. We'll change it to Tutorial Mod. Keep in mind, you can change this to anything you'd like. Optionally, you can add a URL for questions and updates. I'll add one real quick. In order to uncomment a line, you simply delete this number sign here. Our logo file will be logo.png, and we will insert this file in the proper location later in the video. Credits for this mod will go to me, and the author will be MarcAura. Be sure to adjust these values in your own mods accordingly. The description is multiple lines. Add whatever you like here. Dependencies are optional, however, I like to keep the original dependencies of Forge and Minecraft, because how likely is it that you're going to be running a Forge Minecraft server without Forge or Minecraft? I didn't think so. So all you need to do here is change example mod ID to your mod ID. Ours is tutorial mod. And that's it for your mods.toml file. Next up to bat is our pack.mc meta file, here in the resources folder. All you really need to change here is the description. We'll change example mod to tutorial mod. Inside of the resources folder, we are going to include a PNG file called logo. We can drag and drop that in there. Remember the logo file we configured in the mods.toml file? Yeah, that's going to reference this file and create a logo for our mod. This is not necessary, but it does help to create a good first impression of your mod when looking in the mod GUI. You can look at this file by going to Open in Explorer, and you may choose to edit it using a PNG editor like Paint.net. After this, you'll want to change the folders in main using the Refactor tool. We will change example to tutorial using refactor rename. This will be the likely name of your mod, and this is going to be your mod ID. We're going to change this to our mod ID, which is tutorial mod. If you get a message down here, just click on Do Refactor. All this will do is change the associated files that reference the classes inside of this package. Again, be sure to use your own mod name and mod ID. Now, I personally like to have a main class called main, so we can refactor this as well, rename it to main. This is completely optional. You can name this class anything you like. Now, heading into our main class, we're going to change the mod ID here from example mod to our mod ID, which is tutorial mod. Again, I cannot stress this enough. You need to use your own mod ID rather than the mod ID I have. You need to create your own. One more instance of the mod ID is down here in the NQIMC. Change the mod ID here to tutorial mod ID, which is tutorial mod. That's it for our main class. Now we are going to complete our last step, which is to change the build.gradle file. You can find build.gradle over here. Now this part is different from Fabric. We're going to edit the build file directly rather than to change the Gradle settings file. In here will be your version number, group name, and your archive space name. All of this will decide what your eventual mod export will look like and where it will be coming from. Just like last time, we will be changing the name and mod ID here. We'll change this to tutorial, and the mod ID, which is tutorial mod. We're going to change this as well to our mod ID. Quick side note, the package name tutorial, which corresponds to tutorial up here, can also be your name, which in my case would be MarcAura. You can set this to your name, or you can name it something else of your choosing. In my case, since this is a tutorial, I'm going to name it tutorial. We can go ahead and start up the game using either this same run client or clicking on the green arrow up here. And that is it. All it takes to set up your mod workspace for Forge 1.16 and start development. Leave a comment down below with any questions, and stay tuned for the next video where we will finally start modifying the game. That's all for today. This has been MarcAura, and I'll see you in the next video. See y'all later.